By the way, a lot of news drops during the Super Bowl yesterday. The Dallas Mavericks keep taking L's. They had a major Super Bowl news dump on Anthony Davis being out for an extended period of time that they dropped during the Super Bowl.
Jeez. And then Mark Cuban now is making his rounds and going on talking to Bill Gates. That was just such a random clip to find in the lead up to the Super Bowl. Just Mark Cuban telling Bill Gates, if you traded a Microsoft 11 for a Microsoft 10, how would you feel?
And how about Antonio Gates?
How about him?
Oh, you hate to see it. Poor Mavericks, poor Dallas.
Anthony Davis was playing well, and then he goes down. Now he's going to be out for an extended period of time.
Anthony Davis was playing like a MVP caliber guy in the season before he has gone down with these injuries. It's always the hamstring.
The Rockets have lost 6 straight. Great times in Texas.
Mike Eckler dropped a tweet to say thank you to Tennessee.
Saw that
during the Super Bowl. He said, "Thank you, Vol Nation, players and staff. It's been an amazing 4 years filled with incredible memories. My family doesn't have words to express our gratitude. I'm proud of the incredible specialists and OLB rooms we built for a bright future Vol football." Hundred, Mike and Barbie. Now Mike Eckler is coming back to Nebraska as a special teams coach. Wouldn't it be wild if Mike Eckler comes to Lincoln and Bill Busch goes to Tennessee?
That would be wild.
Would that be the trade? Is that the trade?
Hey, it'd be a fine trade.
Bill Busch to Tennessee?
Mike
Eckler takes over on the ticket?
No, I don't know about that.
That's a trade.
Be a good situation. Bill Busch is the experiences that I've had with Bill Busch. He is a ball of energy, a really good guy, very nice. It was always a treat. The couple of times where he had pressers that the media could go to and we can ask him questions, it was always a treat to be there and talk to him and ask him questions. He'd always walk into the pressers like he was an 8th grade biology teacher. He goes, "Hey, everybody, how we doing? How we doing? Having a good day?" And like, you'd be like, "Hey, Sipple, how you doing?"
You can tell, like, guys in that business that are good storytellers, usually are pretty good recruiters. And Mike Eckler's a good recruiter. Bill Busch is a good recruiter. I would think that, and I'm just throwing this out there, that it'd be wild to Mike Eckler to move to Lincoln and Bill Busch move to Knoxville.
You think they just trade houses?
It's just cheaper, easier.
It would be. I'm sure that Bill wants to get back into coaching, but it's got to be the right opportunity. And he's a big family guy, and he loves being back in Nebraska. But that would be a job that would make maybe a little bit more sense than Nebraska.
Yeah, well,
because of your connection to, recruiting in that conference. They're looking for. I think what they're turning that job into, that Eckler is leaving, is just a special teams only.
Yeah,
but
he was in the SEC before he came to Nebraska. He was at LSU. I mean, it's a conference that it's not like he's uncomfortable with at any degree. It's just something he could do. And he's a special teams coach. Like, the energy that he brings and the excitement that he brings and the type of just football mind that he has, like, special teams is a good spot for him. And that would be a really, really good job for him. And I think it'd be a really good hire for Tennessee, frankly.
I had a chance to talk to Rocco Spindler yesterday. I highly advise all of you that enjoy some live shows from 10:30 to whenever we decide to end on Sundays on YouTube, on the Average Joe Sports Show podcast. Yesterday, Rocco Spindler just made a appearance.
that?
He has moved to Lincoln, so it's a whirlwind. He had to pack up the U-Haul in Michigan and get moved to Lincoln. He has moved into Lincoln.
Wow.
He is going to take graduate classes. He also, in his move to Lincoln, purchased quite a bit of vintage Nebraska gear. So he told us yesterday he is an offensive lineman through and through. He's got a dog, an English bulldog. He asked if anybody out there knows great spots for pheasant hunting. He wants to go pheasant hunting.
That's awesome.
He looks like an offensive lineman. He talks like an offensive lineman. But he bought a couple $1,000s worth of vintage Nebraska gear.
That's awesome.
When he got here. So doing this podcast yesterday, he shows up and he's got a 97 Champions hat on. And then he's got like an old school pullover, like a sweatshirt
like
pullover.
A Champions like pullover.
Yeah.
Those are sick.
And
I bought one of those.
I'm like,
well, like
man.
the one you were wearing the other day.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
exactly like that. I'm going to tell you something right now. Rocco, thousands of dollars of vintage gear, that'll go pretty far. That'll go pretty far.
The whole fam is all in. His dad, who played in the NFL and is, his commentator, he's a media, sports talk radio and he covers the Lions. They're all in on the whole Nebraska experience. I can tell, like, talking to him yesterday, he is they are fans of college football. Like, they appreciate the nostalgia and everything else that goes into what a Saturday in college football is like. And I mean, hell, you go from playing at Notre Dame to an iconic stadium to Memorial Stadium to playing at an iconic stadium. But a couple of things he said. One, it kind of sounded like Notre Dame had not necessarily recruited over him, but they wanted to transition so they could open a spot for somebody. The parting was not like, oh my God, I hate Marcus Freeman. He said it was actually pretty good. So once he went into the portal, Nebraska wasn't on his radar. And then Nebraska popped up.
Yeah.
And he knew of Nebraska, but he didn't know like Rule and Raiola right away.
He didn't have a previous connection with them, or it wasn't something that he was looking at.
The only connection that he really had to Nebraska is that picture that he tweeted out. We asked him, and he said, yeah, when it all went down and he committed to Nebraska, his mom remembered that friends of his dad had sent them Nebraska gear for his son, and they put him in that little pullover when he was like 3 years old. His mom went back and found that picture, so that was part of his tweet. So he said he was not looking for a paycheck. Now, he's getting paid, but that was not his number one goal. He wanted some comfortability. He wanted a place where, because he's pursuing his master's, he wanted a place where he could play, where he felt comfortable. And so through the whole process, coming to Nebraska and then the other places he went to, he kept coming back to Nebraska. He fell in love with Rule because he said Rule just kept it really simple. They didn't gloss over anything. They didn't like try and sell him. They were just like, this is what we need. This is how we see you. This is what we do here. We want you. And then he spoke very highly of Donovan Raiola in the brief time that he's gotten to know him, getting into offensive line play. But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
So Rocco, the portal worked for him because he did his homework. And he kind of had a plan of what he was looking for. Again, he reiterated, not looking for a paycheck, but he had a plan. And he did his research. So he actually vetted Donovan Raiola with his offensive line coach with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Because offensive line coach at Notre Dame knew Donovan Raiola from the time with the Bears. So he asked a lot of questions. And the Notre Dame offensive line coach, Harry Hestad, glowing remarks towards Donovan Raiola. So Rocco said he had that going in. And as they sat down and they talked about offensive line play and roles and stuff, he said Nebraska was the place for me. Now, he would like to be a captain. Doesn't necessarily mean he's not a captain. He's not a leader.
Sure.
But that's one of his goals. And that's some high aspirations when you're a new guy and nobody knows you and you're coming in a little bit late. But he also said because I asked him, okay, you have played both guards at Notre Dame. Some of it, he's been moved because of injury. He knows tackle, but he loves playing guard. And I said, are you locked into right guard? Have they said, are you locked into right guard? Because Sipple was the first to bring it up that possibly Lutovsky could learn how to play tackle in the spring. And he said, I don't mind playing either guard spot. He goes, it's just, the majority of my time at Notre Dame, I was playing right guard. He did say this, though. He said, I did ask during the whole process if they will allow me to learn how to snap. Like if I can learn and practice snapping after practice every day, I would like to learn how to play center as well. But he's going to be your right guard, and people are going to fall in love with him. He's very mature. He's got, and I think his mindset is not, hey, I'm going to use Nebraska to get the NFL. I think he's coming here with the mindset. I just came from a program that's got a great culture that we learned how to win there, and I can come in here and some of the things that I learned at Notre Dame, I can bring to Nebraska with the guys I'm going to be around, and hopefully that'll be beneficial to all of us. But I was blown away.
Would you
the
say
portal the portal worked for him? The portal was built for a guy like Rocco Spindler, who Notre Dame didn't necessarily want to process out, but it was time.
Yeah.
And he found a home and he did his research and he didn't just jump at the first offer. He compared different schools, and everything that Nebraska offered is exactly what he wanted. And I said to him, do you think that it made Nebraska look better that you didn't take Nebraska's offer when you were here? You kept your options open. And he basically said yes, because I could compare Nebraska to other schools I was at or other schools that were trying to get in touch with me.
Real quickly, question for you. Like, it's one of those things where now that we're in the NIL era, this is like a trait that some guys have. What I hear, and I want to know if you agree with this or you catch on to this, he sounds just like he's a football player. Yep. He just sounds like he just wants to play football. It's not necessarily about what's the next thing, what's the next paycheck, what's the next bag. He wants to come in, he wants a spot, he wants to have comfortability, and he wants to play football, and he wants to win. And like, you need guys like that. I mean, and it's a shame that nowadays, because of the era of college football that we're in and the mindset that a lot of people have and the mindset that people around people who are making those decisions have, it's a shame that's a rare trait. But when you can get guys like that into a program, that's how you start getting wins. That's how you start getting dudes.
I think what he learned at Notre Dame, playing offensive line and then winning, will go a long way. I was really, really impressed. I think people, as they get to know him, are going to be like, man, this is a home run. This is the kind of guy that shouldn't be a portal guy at Nebraska, but should be like a 2-3 year starter type guy with that mentality and that skill set.